سبحانه لا أحد يستحق الحمد سواه، وأصلي وأسلم على خيرته من خلقه ومصطفاه محمد بن عبد الله وآله وصحبه ومن والاه واهتدى بهداه، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله وصفيه من خيرة خلقه وحبيبه، أرسله ربه بالهدى ودين الحق على فترة من الرسل ليخرج الناس من الظلمات إلى النور بإذن ربهم إلى صراط العزيز الحميد. أشهد أنه بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وكشف الله به الغمة، وجاهد في الله تعالى حق جهاده حتى أتاه اليقين أي الموت. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وكل من اهتدى بهديه وسار على سنته وتخلق بخلقه وقتفى أثره إلى يوم الدين، واجمعنا اللهم على حوضه به كما آمنا به ولم نرى. اللهم اسقنا من يده الشريفة شربة هنيئة لا نظمأ بعدها أبدا. اللهم أحينا على سنته، اللهم أمتنا على ملته، اللهم احشرنا تحت لوائه يوم الدين، اللهم آمين. وصية الله عز وجل للأولين والآخرين التقوى. The best advice for everybody that Allah Azza wa Jalla gave for all is التقوى, to be conscious to Allah. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. O you who believe, be conscious to Allah, have taqwa to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as you should do, as you should be conscious to Him, and do not die except in the state of Islam, submission for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ومن لوازم التقوى أيها الأكارم أن يصلح القلب. One of the most important prerequisites for any person to have taqwa, to be conscious of God, of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is to have a pure heart. ومن أوليات سلامة القلب أن يخلو من كل حقد وحسد وضغينة وبغض وكيد وغش لأي من المسلمين. So speaking about the best advice ever that Allah gave to people, He said التقوى وصينا الذين ولقد وصينا الذين أوتوا الكتاب من قبلكم وإياكم أن اتقوا الله. We have given the best advice for those before you, and you are giving it to you, which is التقوى. Be conscious to Allah. And you will not be able to be conscious to practice this quality without having a pure heart. And you will not be able to have a pure heart if you have that kind of heart that can carry, that doesn't have a filter, that can carry every kind of hatred, animosity, envy, and what have you of these diseases for people, especially for the people that share the same faith with you. أتكلم مع حضراتكم اليوم في دقائق عن سلامة الصدر. In these few minutes, let's talk about سلامة الصدر, which can be translated as purity of the heart. By purity of the heart, I mean the heart being pure from any of these diseases, specifically hatred and the similar diseases that can affect the heart. Allah Azza wa Jalla يقول فاتقوا الله وأصلحوا ذات بينكم. Fear Allah, be conscious to Allah, have taqwa to Allah, and make peace between you, and fix the relationship between you. فأمر بها عز وجل. Allah Jalla ordered us first to have taqwa to Allah, to have this kind of heart that is alive, to be able to be watchful about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then the next order after that, which comes as a result, أصلحوا ذات بينكم, make peace, reconcile, fix your relationships. ودلنا النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم على أن من أهم أعضاء البدن بل سيد الأعضاء القلب. ألا وإن في الجسد مضغة إذا صلحت صلح الجسد كله وإذا فسدت فسد الجسد كله ألا وهي القلب. Talking about the best, most important organ in the body, the Prophet ﷺ said it's the heart. Indeed, there is a piece of, or a morsel of flesh, which is like a small organ in the body, that if it's wholesome, if it's pure, the entire body will be likewise. And if it's the opposite, if it's corrupt, if it's diseased or sick, the entire body will be sick and will be corrupt. And he said it is the heart. It is the heart. والقلب أيها الأكارم مثل زجاجة قد تكون صقيلة ونظيفة وشفافة، فإذا أصابتها أتربة قلت هذه الخاصية وربما الشفافية تقل وكذا. Your heart is just like a piece of mirror or glass that's transparent, that's so pure, so clean, you can tell. If the least of dirt comes on it, it will be visible. So you might need to check it, or actually you have to check it and maintain it every now and then to make sure that it is clear. And why do we focus in the heart? Because Allah Azza wa Jalla لا ينظر إلى الصور ولا إلى الأجساد وإنما ينظر إلى القلوب والأعمال. Indeed, it's so important because Allah Azza wa Jalla does not look at the shapes, the bodies, the physique. Allah Azza wa Jalla looks at the heart and the actions. What's deep there in your heart? Do you think Allah Azza wa Jalla will look at your heart if you carry hatred, animosity, and what have you? Actually, the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said in the hadith so clear that Allah Azza wa Jalla looks at all the actions, open the records of everybody. The records are being submitted to Allah Azza wa Jalla every Monday and Thursday on the weekly basis. And He would look at everybody, He will forgive, He will let go. He will tolerate, with the exception of two categories of people. We always call this hadith one of the two categories, except for somebody who has shahna with his brother, who is in trouble, who is carrying grudges for his brother. Allah Azza wa Jalla will not look at the record. هذا كلام النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. واسمع أيها الكريم، اسمعي أيتها العزيزة، لنستمع إلى كلام الله عز وجل. Let's pay attention, let's listen to the book of Allah Azza wa Jalla, to the words of Allah Azza wa Jalla. آية من آيات الكتاب, one of the verses of الكتاب الذي لا يأتيه الباطل من بين يديه ولا من خلفه. وسم المؤمنين بأنهم إخوة حتى وإن كانوا يقتتلون. قال وأصلحوا بين أخويكم. قال عز وجل إنما المؤمنون إخوة فأصلحوا بين أخويكم. Allah Azza wa Jalla said, even if they could be fighting, literally fighting against each other, but still Allah Azza wa Jalla called them brothers. He said, indeed the believers are brothers, like brothers. They have the bond of brotherhood. Definitely sisters are included in that. They have the bond of Islam between them. فَأَصْلِحُوا بَيْنَ أَخَوَيْكُمْ. Make peace between your two brothers. They are fighting. Make peace between them. They are fighting. Allah Azza wa Jalla still called both of them. فَأَصْلِحُوا بَيْنَ أَخَوَيْكُمْ. Make peace, reconcile, make reconciliation between your two brothers. Between your two brothers. والقرآن يستفيض في هذا حتى في معرض الكلام على القصاص والدية وكذا. قال فمن عفي له من أخيه شيء. You're talking about a killer and somebody who's being killed, and now it's time for, making peace between them, either through, the highest punishment, which is soul for soul, al-qatl, man qatala yuqtal. Or the second category is, in case you forgive this person, you still can ask him for the blood money. Even in this case, Allah Azza wa Jalla called them, when you ask for this money, ask your brother. So He called him, even if he's a killer, He called him a brother in this ayah. نعود إلى سلامة الصدر. الله جل سمى المتقاتلين إخوة بنص القرآن. Even if they could be fighting. Some of the Sahaba, as we all know, الفتنة التي نشأت بين علي ابن أبي طالب رضي الله عنه في جانب ومعاوية ومن معه. The fitna happened early in Islam, again because of political, things. Pure, the most pure people, they ended up fighting against each other. But what we want to talk about is, everybody is convinced with his view, and they thought everybody thinks that he has the truth. That's why they were ready to even fight for it. Because Allah Azza wa Jalla, we are not gods, we are not angels. We do not say for sure that we have the ultimate truth. Only the ultimate truth with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But everybody, based on al-mu'tayat wal-mudkhalat, based on what we see, based on our judgment, if you are not biased, that's what we believe is truth. That's why we stand for it. So you might have, because we are different in the way we look at things, you might have everybody being convinced that his or her stance is the truth. But don't think it's the ultimate truth. Only Allah Jalla has the ultimate truth. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they ended up fighting Ali ibn Abi Talib. This is the approach. This is the attitude. This is the attitude. He found Talha ibn Ubaidillah being killed. He was in the other camp. They used to be together with the Prophet ﷺ, living together, studying together, fighting together, doing everything together in the lifetime of the Nabi ﷺ, and now he found him killed in the battlefield and he was in the opposite camp. He was in the opposite camp. قال يعز علي اليوم أن أجدك مجندلا يا أبا محمد في هذه الأودية تحت أنجم السماء. He started talking about him. It's so hard on me today, Abu Muhammad, to see you being killed right now in this desert, in this valley under the sky. And he started talking about, how good this person was. تبقى الأخوة رغم الاختلاف حتى رغم الاقتتال. إنما المؤمنون إخوة فأصلحوا بين أخويكم. وهذا حديث النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. Here we have the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم is telling us لا تباغضوا. Do not have any hatred between you. Talking to Muslims. You are one group, one ummah. ولا تحاسدوا. Do not even envy one another. ولا تدابروا. Do not talk or backbite each other. وكونوا عباد الله إخوانا. Be all together servants of Allah, like forming this bond of brotherhood, or being all brothers for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jalla. وقال في الحديث المؤمن للمؤمن كالبنيان. A believer for another believer is like a building, is like a wall. Every believer is like a brick. يشد بعضه بعضا. It strengthens one another. وقد ضرب الصحابة في هذا أروع الأمثلة. We looking at the friends of the Prophet ﷺ, الصحابة, they used to receive strangers coming from a different city, not having anything with them. They don't have to support them, but they supported them so much so that Allah said, وَلَا يَجِدُونَ فِي صُدُورِهِمْ حَاجَةً مِمَّا أُوتُوا وَيُؤْثِرُونَ عَلَى أَنفُسِهِمْ وَلَوْ كَانَ بِهِمْ خَصَاصَةٌ. Even if they were themselves, these supporters, Al-Ansar, they were poor, mostly poor, but they still support. And وَلَا يَجِدُونَ فِي صُدُورِهِمْ, and they do not think they are doing much. They do not, sometimes you do something good and you believe you have done something great, and كما يمنون عليك أن أسلموا قل لا تمنوا علي إسلامكم. Those category of people who came and accepted Islam, and they said, well, we supported you, Muhammad, we accepted Islam, and they were trying to tell him that we give you some kind of support. And little group, Allah Azza wa Jalla criticized them. You don't do that. You do not do Allah a favor by accepting Islam. Actually, Allah is doing you a favor when He guided you to Islam. وَلَا يَجِدُونَ فِي صُدُورِهِمْ حَاجَةً مِمَّا أُوتُوا وَيُؤْثِرُونَ عَلَى أَنفُسِهِمْ وَلَوْ كَانَ بِهِمْ خَصَاصَةٌ. They prefer others over themselves, even if they themselves are in need. Not only the companions, Allah Azza wa Jalla told us in the next ayah, وَالَّذِينَ جَاءُوا مِنْ بَعْدِهِمْ يَقُولُونَ رَبَّنَا اغْفِرْ لَنَا وَلِإِخْوَانِنَا الَّذِينَ سَبَقُونَا بِالْإِيمَانِ. And those came after them, the next generation will come after them, the people who follow on their path. What is their attitude? How they look at each other and the next generation. يقولون, they would pray, ربنا اغفر لنا. Oh Allah, forgive us. Not only us, وَلِإِخْوَانِنَا الَّذِينَ سَبَقُونَا, and for our brothers who preceded us in faith. وَلَا تَجْعَلْ فِي قُلُوبِنَا غِلًّا لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, and do not make any hatred, animosity in our hearts for the believers, for those who believe. They care about even those who preceded them. They make dua for them. They make dua for themselves to have pure hearts. بعض فضائل سلامة الصدر سريعا. Some of the virtues of having a pure heart, not carrying any of these things in the heart. Number one, من فضائل سلامة الصدر أنها صفة أهل الجنة. The best people who will be taken to Jannah, Allah Azza wa Jalla described them as يوم لا ينفع مال ولا بنون إلا من أتى الله بقلب سليم. Allah Azza wa Jalla described the people who will make it to Al-Jannah. He said, talking about the day of judgment, it is the day when no wealth nor children will benefit or avail you except those who come to Allah, or the person who comes to Allah with a pure heart, a sound heart, pure heart, قلب سليم ليس فيه ما يشوبه. طبعا ليس فيه ما يشوبه من شرك ولا فتنة ولا غيرها، لكن يدخل فيه أيضا لا يشوبه كره ولا بغض. لمن لا يستحقون هذا الكره ولا البغض. It's pure, it's free from any envy, from any شح, حسد, غش, غل, all of these categories and things that can pollute the heart. أن صاحبها خير الناس وأفضلهم. فإن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قد سئل أي الناس أفضل. Here's the question. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was asked, who is the best of all people? Who is the best of all people? He said sallallahu alaihi wasallam, كل مخموم القلب صدوق اللسان. And they said, يا رسول الله صدوق اللسان نعرفه. فما مخموم القلب؟ قال التقي النقي لا إثم فيه ولا بغي ولا غل ولا حسد. رواه ابن ماجه بسند لا بأس به. The person who has a pure heart, who carry a pure heart, who makes sure that his heart is pure, is actually the best. The Prophet ﷺ one day was asked, who is the best amongst all people? He said, the person who has a heart that's makhmoom, and we will talk about this. And the person who has a tongue that's telling the truth. Always telling the truth. Tongue is always telling the truth. Heart is always being makhmoom, which means قالوا المخموم من خممت البيت إذا كنسته أي نظفته، أي ينظف قلبه بين كل حين وحين. يعني إذا تركت البيت لا تنظفه مرة ولا اثنين ولا 10، بل تتعاهده ربما كل يوم كل يومين كل أسبوع، لأنك إذا تركته تتراكم عليه الأحقاد أو يعني الوساخات أو كذا، فيلزم رعاية وصيانة دائمة كما يلزم رعاية وصيانة دائمة للبيت. The meaning of مخموم القلب is the person who clears his heart, who actually literally, the literal meaning of the word is when you sweep, when you brush your house or something. You do not brush or clean your house once in the lifetime, once every year. You do it actually, could be every day, every 2 days, every week or something. You brush it. You sweep it, you use a broom or something to clean it. So the same words being used here for cleaning the heart. It's not, don't take it for granted that I'm good, my heart is good and that's it. No, you keep maintaining your heart. Especially the heart, because it's so sensitive. It gets affected by anything, by what you hear, by what you see, by what you think, by what you assume. That's why you have to keep cleaning it, to be the best of people who carry a pure heart and they have a truthful tongue. فوصى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يعني قال التقي النقي لا إثم فيه ولا بغي. He said the person who has a heart that is, he is always conscious to Allah Azza wa Jalla, always being alive. And then he said لا بغي فيه ولا غل, that does not carry any aggression or any غل or any hatred or any animosity for anybody. Number 3 of the virtues of purity of the heart, أنها معينة للقلب على الخير. Big portion of your effort, of your energy is going to be wasted if you have, bad assumptions, if you carry hatred, if you think bad of others, if you keep judging others. You're wasting your energy. Not only wasting your energy, you could be gaining mistakes and bad deeds with Allah Azza wa Jalla. Versus somebody who has a pure heart, he has his own energy completely saved for him to use it for something positive, to use it for something good. The hadith of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam of the person, hadith from the Imam Ahmad, Anas ibn Malik yarwi. Anas ibn Malik narrated the hadith from the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He said, one day we were with the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in the mosque, in the masjid. A person appears. Before he appears, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, يَطْلُعُ عَلَيْكُمُ الْيَوْمَ رَجُلٌ مِنْ أَهْلِ الْجَنَّةِ. Today, right now, a person will come to you who is actually one of the people who will make it to Al-Jannah, one of the residents of the heaven. And somebody came, a man from Al-Ansar, from the supporters, residents of Medina. It was so simple. His lihya taqturu ma, and he was making wudu and coming with some drops coming, and he was holding his shoes in his left hand. Very simple person. Next day, the same thing is being said by the Prophet ﷺ, and the same person appeared. Third day, the same thing, and the same person appeared. So Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As decided to follow this person. And he made up little story. He said, well, لاحيت أبي ويعني أقسمت أن I have a little problem with my father, and I swear not to stay, in the house, So I thought if you could probably host me or something. He just wanted to go with him to see what he is doing, how he is behaving, what kind of person is that the Prophet ﷺ for 3 continuous days said he is of the people of Al-Jannah. He lived with him. He saw him, very normal, not doing anything extra, even at night, not praying like extra salawat or something. The only thing he discovered is whenever he wakes up at night, he mentions Allah or something, and then he continues his sleep. But he was doing all the obligatory prayers and everything that was obligatory on him. Then he said at the end of the few days, he said, let me tell you something. I haven't had any trouble with my father. We didn't have any argument or anything. that's what happened. The Prophet ﷺ said such and such, and I decided to know, to come and visit you and be with you, spend some time with you to see. So can you tell me what is it that you do that makes you qualify for such a position that a prophet of God will say for 3 continuous days that you are one of the people of Jannah? What is it that you do? He said, nothing. It is just what you saw. With the exception of probably one thing, that when I go to sleep, I do not carry anything in my heart. I do not have anything. لا أحمل غشا لأحد من المسلمين ولا حقدا. قال يعني فبهذا بلغت وتلك التي لا نطيق. He said the only thing that I could think of is I don't have, when I go to sleep or something, I do not have anything against any Muslim, against anybody. I sleep with a pure heart and I don't have any grudges, anything against anybody. He said that's the thing that makes you proceed, that's the thing that makes you, that qualifies you for Al-Jannah, and this is the thing that probably we cannot afford. It looks easy, simple when you talk about it. I'm talking about it right now. But with the first argument with somebody, you will still, having, the heart will be affected. The heart, that's why Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam himself, he's a prophet, carrying the purest, most pure heart ever. He said one day, لا يبلغني أحد منكم عن أصحابي شيئا إني أحب أن أخرج إليكم وأنا سليم الصدر. Let not any of you tell me about any of my friends anything. Like if somebody said anything that I might dislike or something and I was not present, I don't want anybody to tell me about it. I would like to come out to my friends, to my companions, to the community, to everybody with a pure heart. Because when somebody tells you something about a third person, that's namima. Things will start happening, you will have assumptions, you will have a lot of things. ولا ينافي طبعا سلامة الصدر، لا ينافي ذلك الحذر والحيطة وأخذ، قال ولا يستخفنك الذين لا يقنون، وقال وخذوا حذركم. It doesn't mean that you just be very pacifist, very naive. It doesn't mean nothing of that. You have to be, take precautions and be careful and everything. But the main rule or the main approach or attitude that you adopt in dealing with the people of your faith and everybody in general should be, you deal with them with a pure heart. You come out to them with a pure heart. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. Inshallah, if you can come forward, please come forward, especially to this side of the masjid, because we have a lot of people still coming, so inshallah make room for them. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله الأمين. أسباب سلامة الصدر. If you want to have a pure heart, there are some suggestions or some things that should take you or give you that result. Number one, من أسباب سلامة الصدر الإقبال على كتاب الله عز وجل. If you want to have a pure heart, your heart is going to be pure, is going to be maintained. Number one thing, by connecting with the book of Allah. Because you are connecting with Allah عز وجل. قد جاءكم يا أيها الناس قد جاءتكم موعظة من ربكم وشفاء لما في الصدور وهدى. There has, Allah Azza wa Jalla addressing people, He said, "Oh people, there has come to you from your Lord. There has come to you from your Lord, موعظة, admonition. وشفاء, and a cure for what's in your hearts. وشفاء لما في الصدور, what's in your chest. So it's a shifa, Quran, the word of God. If you connect with it, you're connecting with the ultimate purity, the ultimate guidance. Let's connect to the book of Allah. من أسباب سلامة الصدر أن تدعو الله عز وجل. That you make dua to Allah عز وجل to make your heart pure and clean, and have this kind of filter. When you have a new car and a very nice engine, but you usually go for the very cheap engine oil, and you do not care about changing the filter or something, you would ruin your engine. Even if it's a very good engine, you have to maintain it in order to get a good performance. One of the things to give you a good performance as a believer is to have a pure, clean heart. And one of the things that will give you a pure heart is you should maintain and keep your heart, keep it wholesome, keep it pure. Filter all of these things. Make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as those believers who said, رَبَّنَا وَلَا تَجْعَلْ فِي قُلُوبِنَا, oh our Lord, do not make any hatred or animosity for our brothers there in our hearts. قال ومن أسباب سلامة الصدر الابتعاد عن سوء الظن. Stay away from bad assumptions. Do not assume much. Do not live in the virtual world. خذ بالظاهر. Do not judge the intentions. Allah Azza wa Jalla يقول إن بعض الظن إثم. Some of the assumptions that you could have could lead to or is in itself a sin. And after that you talk about tajassus, غيبة ولا يغتب بعضكم بعض. You talk about backbitings and you talk about spying and you talk about so many other diseases. After talking about سوء الظن, after warning about having bad assumptions. Why? Because that would lead to that. That's the automatic result. If you keep assuming wrong, bad things about others, that's what you will end up having in addition to wasting your energy and so on. وقال عمر رضي الله عنه لا تظنن بكلمة خرجت من أخيك شرا وأنت تجد لها في الخير محملة. Do not jump to judge, a word that comes out of your brother by assuming evil things, by taking evil approach, understanding or interpreting this word, even though you are able to interpret it in a good way. وجاء رجل الإمام الشافعي رضي الله عنه يعود فقال قوى الله ضعفا. قال لو قوى ضعفي لقتلني. لو قوى ضعفي لا قتلني. قال الزائر والله ما أردت إلا الخير. قال الإمام أعلم أنك لو سببتني ما أردت إلا الخير. A person came to visit الإمام الشافعي. الإمام الشافعي حجة في الحديث، حجة في الفقه، حجة في اللغة، كان بارع في شتى العلوم عليه رحمة الله. Somebody visited him. He said, may Allah strengthen, he was sick, may Allah strengthen your weakness. This is the literal translation. He said, if he strengthens my weakness, you would kill me. He wanted to say, Allah, give you power, give you strength, after being weak. But he said it in a wrong way in Arabic. He said, by Allah, the person said, by Allah, I just intended to say, to make dua for you. He said, I know that. By Allah, I know, because he was so close to him. He said, Wallahi, if you say something that looks like an insult, I would know that your intention is good and you wouldn't mean it. That's the approach that we have to have dealing with each other. One of the things that help us, remove and get rid of that, تبادل الهدايا. Let's exchange gifts. النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول تهادوا تحابوا. Exchange gifts and love would come in there in between you. كما رواه البخاري في الأدب المفرد. قال والبعد عن النميمة والنمامين. Let's stay away from those who carry and spread things. Spread the words of others, because this is usually going to lead to so many things. And we quoted the hadith of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, لا يبلغني. Nobody of you shall tell me anything or any speech of anybody else, any talk of anybody else, because I want to come out to my friends with a pure heart. نعم، حديث ذو شجون أيها الأكارم، ولكن يكفينا دعاء النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم، وهو المعصوم صلى الله عليه وسلم كان يدعو يقول ويدل ذلك على أنه كان من أحرص الناس على سلامة الصدر والقلب. فكان يقول في صلاته, he used to say, Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, pray in his salat, اللهم إني أسألك الثبات في الأمر والعزيمة على الرشد وأسألك شكر نعمتك وحسن عبادتك وأسألك قلبا سليما ولسانا صادقا وأسألك من خير ما تعلم وأعوذ بك من شر ما تعلم وأستغفرك لما لا تعلم. Amongst his prayers, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, very beautiful prayer, very beautiful invocation, is that he used to say, I ask you to give me a sound, pure heart. Sound and pure heart. May Allah Azza wa Jalla, نسأل الله عز وجل أن يهبنا قلبا سليما. نسأل الله عز وجل أن يشفي أمراض قلوبنا وصدورنا. نسأل الله عز وجل أن لا نحمل في قلوبنا غلا لأحد ولا حقدا لأحد يا رب العالمين. اللهم طهر قلوبنا من كل ما يغضبك علينا. Oh Allah, purify our heart يا رب العالمين. Help us to purify and maintain our heart يا رب العالمين. Make us focus in our sins and our problems rather than focusing on others' problems يا رب العالمين. اللهم طهر قلوبنا وطهر أعمالنا وطهر ألسنتنا وطهر أعيننا وطهرنا يا رب العالمين واجعلنا من الطاهرين المطهرين يا رب العالمين. اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا وقلبا خاشعا ولسانا ذاكرا شاكرا وجسدا على البلاء صابرا وأخرج أمة محمد مما نزل بها وحل بها يا رب العالمين وهيئ لها أمر العز والرشد يا رب العالمين. اللهم هيئ لها أمر العز والرشد يا رب العالمين. اللهم هيئ لها أمر النصر والعز يا رب العالمين. Oh Allah, give the Muslims victory يا رب العالمين. Oh Allah, give Muslims victory يا رب العالمين. Take us all back to the right track يا رب العالمين. Take us all back to the right track يا رب العالمين. اللهم أحينا على الإسلام وتوفنا عليه واحشرنا عليه يوم الدين وصلي وسلم وبارك على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Don't forget inshallah to make dua for brother Muhammad Ishaq Zafar, the father of Zubair and Ali Zafar. He passed away in Pakistan. May Allah Azza Jalla have rahmah, may Allah shower him with mercy inshallah ta'ala. And I guess the family are like busy now, so we will keep you posted inshallah as far as the time of condolences and so on. Jazakallah khair wa alaykum assalam.